الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله اللهم رضيت بالله
إن الحمد لله أحمده وأستعينه وأستغفره وأستهديه وأعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على عبدك ورسولك محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما ثم أما بعد. Dear brothers and sisters, I'm sure that everyone has been afflicted by the news that we heard recently from New Zealand. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most merciful, to bestow His mercy on those who have lost their lives while they were listening to the khatib doing the Friday khutbah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to also provide and help the families afflicted with patience so that they can endure the trial that they are going through. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the mercy for all of the Muslims all over the world, that they will go through this time of anxiety and time of propaganda against the Muslims and against this religion of Islam. Brothers and sisters, it took a person few minutes to take the life of over 50 people while they were in the masjid, out of hatred, out of ill feeling, out of false assumptions on those innocent ones who left everything behind and went to serve their God. And that's what happens when we live in this atmosphere of fear, the atmosphere of hate, the atmosphere of discrimination, the atmosphere of pointing fingers to each another, the atmosphere of making false allegations against people just because of their ethnic background, just because of their different belief. Brothers and sisters, this is not only New Zealand, this is the whole entire world. And this is not only against Muslims, it's actually going very, very far than that. We've been talking about tragedies of Muslims all over the world. We talked about that in China. We talked about that in many other places, and now we see it also in the most Western world. But brothers and sisters, once again, this is not only against Muslims. This is a principle of hate that goes against anyone and does not differentiate between people. Yes, we've been afflicted very much. Yes, we've seen that a lot with targeting Muslims, but it is not only against Muslims. And I have to make this very clear because I see that there are many, many, many people around us who are non-Muslims, and they show all their support to us. And they would work very closely with all the afflicted ones to help them and support them. Brothers and sisters, I still remember during September 11 time, I was in Virginia at that time, when we had Christians from all different sects who came during our Salatul Jumah to provide a human shield around the mosque in order to protect Muslims from any potential attack. So they left their work and they came to the masjid during Salatul Jum'ah, while we were doing Salatul Jum'ah, to provide a human shield and defend us. I want to say this, although I have many other things to say, but I want to start with this to say that when we as Muslims, whenever we see something like this, we know who to blame. And we're not going to generalize our complaint and go and attack or react in an unjust way. Brothers and sisters, let me reflect on something that we have been living for the past few months, actually the past few years. Since the new administration came here, we have seen all those new legislations or attempt to legalize things where they started a ban for 6 or 5 Muslim countries. They cannot come to the US. They prevented them from coming. Well, majority of Americans were against that. The justification we heard was to protect Americans. But we have got the best and highest level of technology that would allow us to protect our borders and protect our nation. We don't need to do those type of things. Unfortunately, those countries were the Muslim countries. And that only increased into the Islamophobia thing, or it increased into the discrimination that we see here. But again, that was not only Muslims, because we've been also hearing about this wall of hate that they are trying to build between US and Mexico. That's a wall of hate. We have every required technology to protect our borders. And yet, building those walls, at the time the entire world is trying to destroy the walls between people, is another push for discrimination, for having all this ill feeling between people and between the different races. Brothers and sisters, all of these attempts, and there are many others, are only pushing towards more anxiety, towards more hatred between people, towards more violence that people may use against each other. And when we want to say no, it's no to all of that. It's no to all of that. We want to protect our own brothers and sisters in Islam. We want to protect our own neighbors here in America, regardless of their faith. We want to protect all humans in the entire world, regardless of their faith, of their background, or anything that is related to them. Brothers and sisters, it is our obligation as Muslims who have principles, who believe in this religion of mercy and justice, that we always raise our voice with what we believe in, and make sure that we are not emotionally speaking, but rather we are speaking with foundation from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided us and what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught us. Brothers and sisters, Allah has said in the Quran, من أجل ذلك كتبنا على بني إسرائيل أنه من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا. We have made it in the religion of the children of Bani Israel, the children of Israel, meaning the Jews, which is one of the earliest religions of the Abrahamic religions. And we, the Muslims, still believe in that as well. That any person who kills just one soul, it's as if killing the whole humanity. If that killing came with no reason, with no justified, legitimate reason, it's as if killing the whole humanity. Brothers and sisters, that's what Quran teaches us. That's what Quran teaches us, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us similar things, that we cannot even annoy people, let alone killing them or murdering them. We cannot annoy innocent people regardless of their faith. Allah said also in the Quran that killing innocents will result in having the person in the hellfire permanently. We know that this religion came to protect humans and not to kill them. Give them the chance to know about their Lord. Give them the chance to work in this life. And Allah also said that there's no compulsory in religion. So Islam came to protect the life of people and give them the chance. Yes, it pushes them to think very aggressively and very deeply about their Lord and their purpose of their existence, but it does not make the religion compulsory on them. Which means, brothers and sisters, that this false allegation that some people are using against Muslims, that Islam is the religion of killing, is nullified, has no foundation, has no rationale behind it. It is just coming from either false assumption or from ill feeling or from some bad media that is distributing Islamophobia or something similar. But brothers and sisters, we the Muslims have to be very much confident that there's nothing in Islam that promotes killing or murdering. So brothers and sisters, the same thing applies to all those Abrahamic religions. And we don't believe that any of the true, authentic Abrahamic religion advises or promotes people or followers to go and murder others. So when we see that there are some Christians doing wrong, or some Jews doing wrong, or some Muslims doing wrong, that's not to say that this applies to the whole followers of that individual belief. And we have to be very careful about this. And I really meant to say this because we do not want to react to a problem by introducing another problem and say that and generalize our reaction to be and become a wrongdoer in this situation. So that's one point that I wanted to make clear, and I hope that we can, inshallah, all elaborate on this with other beloved ones and other people that we work with and talk to. The second point I wanted to say is a message for our Muslim brothers who were afflicted, and perhaps every Muslim here. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said in an authentic hadith, إذا أراد الله بعبد خيرا إذا أراد الله بعبده خيرا عسله. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants good with a person, wants good to happen to a person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sweetens him or her. قيل يا رسول الله وكيف يكون وما هو عسله? So how does that work? He ﷺ said, إذا أراد الله بعبد خيرا وفقه لعمل صالح ثم قبضه عليه. That when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants something good to happen to a person, to one of his slaves, a man or woman, Allah will guide them to do something righteous, and Allah will take their soul while in that state of doing the righteous good deed. We strongly believe that those who have lost their lives while they were in the prayer, waiting for Salatul Jumah, while they were listening to the khatib, that they have been chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to die on that state of being in the salah, in their prayer. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to escalate their ranks, to elevate their ranks, and to have His infinite mercy and grace on him. Allahumma ameen. Brothers and sisters, it really afflicts us. It really makes us very sad. It saddens us to the deepest level. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said also in the authentic hadith, مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم كمثل الجسد إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى له سائر الجسد بالحمى والسهر. That the example of the believers in their affection, in their mercy, in their compassion towards each another is that of a body. When a single limb complains, then the entire body will react with the sleeplessness and fever. And brothers and sisters, this is a time when you check how much of this Islamic brotherhood you have in your heart. Because it really, your reaction to this and how much it saddens you and how much it makes you willing to react in helping the afflicted ones, or at least working on making sure that this thing may not happen again, whether here in your own area or elsewhere. Your willingness to do something good, to react in a positive way, would reflect how much you believe in this hadith, how much you feel the belongingness to the ummah, to the Muslim nation, regardless of where they live. Brothers and sisters, this is among the best things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided us and given us, that we feel that regardless of our color, our language, our passports, our nations, when someone says, La ilaha illallah, he or she is our brother and sister, just like our own blood brother and sister. And what afflicts them afflicts us. What they complain against makes us concerned and worried. Brothers and sisters, this is something that we need to promote. This feeling towards our brothers and sisters has to be clear in our minds, and we have to promote it to our own next generation. I have stated this many times, that I'm really, really worried that we are building a new generation that does not care. Really, that does not care. That regardless of what happens, if it is not within their own city, they don't mind. It's as if nothing has happened. And they may be more concerned about irrelevant things in their own area than those major things that happen to their Muslim brothers and sisters outside of their areas. Brothers and sisters, this is something that we need to work on very heavily. We have to revive this spirit of caring about our Muslim brothers and sisters wherever they are. And in fact, in addition to that, we have to revive the spirit of advocating for all the innocent ones who are being oppressed, regardless of their faith. Because we as Muslims have to help and support all those who are being suffering for no reason except because there is an injustice applied to them. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه وتوبوا إليه إنه غفور رحيم. الحمد لله على إحسانه والشكر له على توفيقه وامتنانه، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله تعظيما لشانه، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله الداعي إلى رضوانه. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على عبدك ورسولك محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. I have two more messages, brothers and sisters, regarding the same issue. regarding this killing, the shooting that happened in New Zealand and that has killed over 50 people. Brothers and sisters, the rumor or the Islamophobia or the idea that Muslims are hungry of blood, or that they love killing and all that stuff, is not something that we can change easily. And it has happened because of some several incidents, we know for sure. But just because the Christians have applied the crusades in some time, we cannot just label all Christians to be killers. The same thing with Muslims, the same thing with Jews, the same thing with any other faith followers. And we need to make sure of two things. Number one, be confident ourselves about our religion. Because unless we know for sure that our religion is truly about bringing peace and bringing the best life to all humanity in this world and in the hereafter, unless we have that truly rooted in our hearts and minds, then we cannot just convey the message to others. So that's one thing. But the other thing here is that we really need to also find out what really makes others feel that Muslims might be violent people. And I can tell you one example that I have been dealing with very much in the past days. That when my neighbor hears a screaming in my house, that maybe the man is yelling at his wife or beating his children, what is the impression? Isn't that a violence? So when I see many Muslims doing this, what does that tell me? Doesn't that tell me, or it makes me assume that there is something around this in Islam and the religion itself? Brothers and sisters, we know for sure that Islam does not invite people to use violence. But unfortunately, the practice of many Muslims, the wrong practice of many Muslims, have led, partially at least, to the belief that Muslims have that rooted in their religion, that they may be violent to their families, to their wives, and to their children. Brothers and sisters, when we have a dialogue and we differ in our opinion, how much that provokes people to raise their voice, use nasty language sometimes, and sometimes it even goes to the extent of doing physical fight. When people see that this is a common trend within some faith followers, doesn't that make them make the assumption that the faith itself promotes that? When we saw the cartoons in some of the European countries against Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I'm sure everyone cried because of this. We cannot see anyone talking against our Prophet. But to take this to the root cause and see where this is coming from, I swear that majority of people who were laughing at those cartoons and who liked those cartoons, it wasn't really because they knew about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It wasn't because they hate the religion itself, but it was because they have seen examples of people who belong to that faith, and unfortunately those examples were not to the best desired performance, or not reflecting actually what Islam means. So the examples were giving that notion of violence, that notion of randomization and all that. Brothers and sisters, it is our duty to start first within our homes before we even bring that message outside to say about the beauty of Islam. The second and last message I want to make here is for our neighbors, the American neighbors. I want to say that we all live in the same boat. We are all on the same boat here. And if the boat sinks, we will sink together. Unless we work all together against discrimination in this country, against pushing for this hatred feeling that people have, unless we work together to clarify the beauty of respect, diversity, and really appreciating each another, and really living in peace with others, and feeling that Allah, the one God that we all believe in, has created all of us in this world so that we can get the best out of us and not to compete and kill each another for everyone to prove their superiority over others. Unless we work together in having that and in supporting that principle, I'm very worried that those examples that we are seeing will come sometime to our city. And la samahallah, it will impact people who are here or our neighbors in this city or in the cities close to us. Brothers and sisters, we really need to take that to the next step. That we have to stop this, we have to nip this from the bed. And it's not only, people usually talk, okay, we have to ban, weapons. Well, that's one piece of it. But there's a much bigger piece, which is, what does the media promote to people? What are my neighbors and my families and my children and myself, what are we listening to? How are we being influenced and persuaded by the media around us? What type of ill feeling are we carrying and adopting over time against each other? That will, la samahallah, God forbid, in the short term, actually, not even the long term, it will result in more violence and more killing. Brothers and sisters, we have to really work with everyone we can, so that we agree at least that we have to clarify our principles in the best way, in the best manner, and to make sure that those discrimination or discriminatory actions or advertisements or whatever they are, that they are not acceptable by any one of us, and that we should work against them until, inshallah, we clear and purify ourselves and all our neighbors from it. This is our shared responsibility. This is not only Muslims' responsibility. We all need to work towards it. And brothers and sisters, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has lived with his Jewish neighbor in peace throughout his life, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He never attacked him. He never did anything wrong to him. Even though sometimes they were the opposite, but he, sallallahu never reacted in a negative way. And he, sallallahu has showed us how to live in peace with people of different faith, with people that you do not share with them your opinion, without using any of that violence. This is our responsibility, to follow Prophet and to tell others about what our Prophet has taught us. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم يا مولانا ويا خالقنا ويا رازقنا نسألك يا الله بأسمائك الحسنى نسألك بصفاتك العلى أن ترحم إخواننا الذين قتلوا في نيوزيلاند اللهم يا ربنا ارحم إخواننا الذين قتلوا في نيوزيلند. اللهم يا ربنا اجعل الجنة مأواهم، اللهم اجعل الجنة مأواهم، اللهم ارفع درجتهم في المهديين، اللهم اخلفهم في عقبهم في الغابرين، اللهم اغفر لنا ولهم أجمعين يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم يا ربنا وفق عائلاتهم وإخوانهم وأحبائهم إلى الصبر وإلى حسن العمل، اللهم آمين. اللهم وفقنا جميعا يا ربنا، اللهم وفقنا جميعا نحن المسلمين إلى أن نكون متحابين فيك. اللهم وفقنا جميعا إلى أحسن الأقوال والأفعال والأخلاق، لا يهدي لأحسنها إلا أنت. اللهم يا ربنا اجعلنا متكاتفين متكاملين متحابين متآخين متحدين يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم يا ربنا وفقنا العمل الصالح، اللهم وفقنا العلم النافع، اللهم يا ربنا ارزقنا أن نكون هداة مهتدين. إلهنا استعملنا في طاعتك، يا ربنا استعملنا في طاعتك. اللهم وفقنا للعمل الصالح الذي ترضيه، واجعل خير أعمالنا خواتيمها وخير أيامنا يوم نلقاك وأنت راض عنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله العظيم الجليل يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. معلش خليها مثل ما هي، أنا أسويها ما هي. جزاك الله خير. استووا اعتدلوا. Straighten your line shoulder to shoulder. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم. الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور والذين كفروا أولياؤهم الطاغوت يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. من أجل ذلك كتبنا على بني إسرائيل أنه من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا ومن أحياها فكأنما أحيا الناس جميعا ولقد جاءتهم رسلنا بالبينات ثم إن كثيرا منهم بعد ذلك في الأرض لمسرفون. الله أكبر.